Hello everyone, welcome to Babylon Leather's official channel. Today, we are going to make this swinger bag. Now is the finished project show. Let's check all the materials. 2 large body pieces. Firstly, let's distinguish the front and back of the materials. The one with larger pinholes is the front side, and the one with smaller pinholes is the back side. The zipper has a zipper pull in the front. One back piece. 2 belt loops of the shoulder strap, 4 zipper tapes, 2 piping strip leather, 1 zipper, 1 side piece, 1 zipper material. If there is no problem, you can start making this bag. First, fold the zipper material facing outwards. Measure the thread 4 times the length of the sewn part, then cut it off. Thread the needles, pass the thread through the needle. Then pull out a section, let the needle point to pierce the thread. Pull it tight, now it is done. Thread the other needle in the same way. Start sewing from the first pinhole. Let the needle from the bottom to top. Then let the second needle pass through the second pinhole. Pull the 2 threads, keep them in the same length. Let the first needle pass through the second pinhole, don't pierce the thread. Pull the thread tight. Now we successfully start the stitching. Then keep sewing with the double needle stitching method. Don't miss any pinhole, don't pierce the thread. After sewing up each stitch, pull it tight. When swinging the thread by hand, the direction should be consistent. Finally, let's end the stitching and deal with the thread ends. Make a backstitch to reinforce it. Let the two needles pass through the gap between the two materials. Then cut the thread and tie a knot. Cut the thread leaving a 3 mm and burn off the thread ends with a lighter. Now we successfully end the stitching. Let's check the sewn up effect. Get these two belt loops and the bottom material. Get the D buckles and bottom studs. Install the screw on the back side of material. Then install the bottom stud on the front side. Finally tighten it. Install the 4 bottom studs in the same way. Let's check the effect. Then combine the belt loop and the buckle like this. D-buckle arc facing outward. Align the pinholes of the side piece. Measure the thread 4 times the length of the sewn part, then cut it off. Start sewing in the same way as before, then keep sewing with the double needle stitching method. Don't miss any pinhole, don't pierce the thread, pay attention to these points every time you sew. No more hints later. Finally, end the stitching and deal with the thread ends in the same way as before. Let's check the sewn up effect. Sew up the other side in the same way. Get the back piece and the pocket. Align the pinholes. Let the two materials front side face outward. Measure the thread 4 times the length of the sewn part, then cut it off. Start sewing from the first pinhole, then keep sewing with the double needle stitching method. Finally, let the thread end on the back side. Let's check the sewn up effect. Get the zipper tips and for small materials. The pull tab of the zipper should be facing upwards. Measure the thread 2 times the length of the sewn part, then cut it off. First, let the needle pass through the hole in the upper right corner of the small material. Then let the needle pass through the second pinhole of the zipper tape. And then pass through another pinhole corresponding to the small material. Then let the needle pass through the pinhole below. There is no pinhole on the zipper when sewing this stitch. We can sew on the fabric of the zipper. Sew to the end and finally let the thread end on the back side. Let's check the sewn up effect. Sew up the other side in the same way. Get the back side material, let both materials facing up, and let the back material on top of the zipper tape. Measure the thread 4 times the length of the sewn part, then thread the needles. Start sewing. Let the needle pass through the first pinhole of the zipper tape, from bottom to top. Then let the needle pass through the first pinhole of the back piece, from bottom to top. The second needle is passed through the second pinhole in the same way. Keep sewing to the end. Finally, let the thread end on the back side. Let's check the sewn-up effect. Then sew up the second row in the same way. Note that the first two stitches are single stitches on the back material, starting from the third pinhole. Sew the zipper tape together with the materials. Let's check the sewn-up effect. Sew up the front piece in the same way. Let's check the sewn-up effect. Then get these two pieces of hardware. Wait to install the circular lock and set it aside for now. First, loosen the screws on the turn lock and then install it like this. Let's check the effect. Then get the piping strip and bottom material. First, check if the piping strip is flat. If it is not, trim it. With the back piece facing up and the side piece material facing down, align the inner sides of the two materials. First, find the center holes of two materials. The center hole is larger than other pinholes. Measure the thread 8 times the length of the sewn part, then thread the needles. Start sewing. Let the needle pass through the first pinhole under the piping strip, from the top to the bottom. Then pass the needle through the third pinhole counted from the center hole on both the side piece and the back piece. Then pass the needle from the bottom to the top through the fourth hole of the piping strip. Repeat the same process to sew the adjacent pinholes to the right, and then keep sewing. Using clips to secure the materials in place can make sewing easier. The same method applies when sewing at the corner. Just sew the materials layer by layer at the corner, being careful not to miss any pinhole. Please be patient and enjoy the sewing process. Sew up this corner in the same way. It's important to note that the center hole of this place must be aligned. If it's not aligned, it was a sewing mistake. 123碗 hand sewing up to the third pinhole before the center hole. Pause the sewing first. Then, leave only 4 pinholes on the piping strip that have not been sewn, and cut off the rest of the piping strip. I have exactly 3 pinholes here. Be sure to determine the number of remaining holes before cutting. Then sew a pinhole normally. Then add another piping strip to sew together. Keep sewing in the same way. Finally, let the thread end on the back side. Cut off the excess piping strip when you are almost finished sewing. The piping strip should have one more pinhole than the unstitched part of the bottom material. Cut off the rest. Be careful to make sure you count them clearly and don't cut them short. I still have 4 pinholes of the bottom material left to sew here, so I left 5 pinholes in the piping strip and cut it off. When sewing to the third pinhole from the back, add another piping strip and sew them together. Finally, let's end the stitching. Make a backstitch to reinforce it. Let the 2 needles pass through the gap between the 2 materials. Get the zipper material and install it like this. Get the hardware, screw down first. Then cut the zipper material from here. It is possible that we have cut it before shipping. Install it like this. It is not divided into front and back, depending on your own habits. This wonderful bag is complete now. Well, thanks for choosing Babylon Leather. Thanks for watching.